Hey everyone, welcome to Bugsmashers. I'm your host, Mark Abent, and I'm here to take you behind the scenes on those shenanigans called bugs. Bugsmashers! Hey everyone, we are here and got blinking lights. Before that, I am going to disable lights, not to distract me. Now we look like a PS2 game. Excellent. So, we are in a fun real production map. This is Dying Star, and I disabled lighting because I don't like blinking. And we have a bug here where sometimes when I get into a map, I can't move. And this is the case of the non-movable ships. So let's step into John Pritchett's fun IFCS code and figure out what's going on. Whee! The best part is sometimes when I respawn, it works, and sometimes it doesn't. All right, so here we are. We have two of John's systems. We have the flight controller, which is his actual IFCS. This dictates how the spaceship should move. Then we have this thruster manager, which tells IFCS, hey, I have all these thrusters all over. This is how they move. This is their acceleration velocity. And this could change dynamically in case they get detached or if they get damaged. So you have these two systems working in pair. So this thruster manager is basically responsible for letting the flight control system know how much thrust is able to be done by the whole ship. And if I put a breakpoint on this fun little bad boy, this tells what the maximum thrust of the whole system is. And unfortunately, we have this thing called a physics state, which John uses to determine the overall physical objects. So we have this rigid body, which has mass, it has speed, it has acceleration, and it has a bunch of thrusters on it. And what this guy does is this thruster manager says, hey, I have all these thrusters here, and they can move this way, this way, this way, so that the IFCS can move this guy a certain way based on input and move and fire off the thrusters. So the thruster manager needs to know a few bits, such as the mass of this thing, to figure out its acceleration. And unfortunately, this physics status that the thruster manager sees is all basically zeroed out. So according to the thruster manager, this thing has no mass. So it's going to say that all the thrusters are basically not going to be able to use any acceleration or provide any acceleration on a zero mass object. Because from the standpoint of the game, zero mass means static and it's just going to stay. You can't have zero mass on a thing. So this lovely thing is going to basically return, let's step back. Let's put a breakpoint actually right here. And as you can see, our acceleration for the whole system is going to be 0, so I can never ever move. The joys. So let's find out when this M status is set. So it's set, this is some debug thing. It's never going to get hit, obviously, because we never hit the breakpoint. That's end tuning. So here's something where the thruster manager, when it updates, it's going to capture the physics state of the flight controller. So we'll put up a breakpoint there, and we'll put up a breakpoint here. And let's continue. So we get on begin update, and we have actual information. Key point here, we have two updates. We have the physics update, and then we have the main update. The physics update happens in the physics system so that it can do its physical calculations, and we have a main update, which is game code specific on how it should provide stuff to the physics. So in this specific area, this is the physics update. As you can see, we have, we're getting our physics information correctly. Cool. Let's disable that, continue. Now we get to the main update. And as you can see, we have invalid information. So where does this happen in the flight controller? So the flight controller, let's go back. This is M status. So we have the physics status and we have the physics status for main. This guy works, this guy's broken. So let's find out when this gets updated. This gets updated in, it's very specific code for track view, so it won't get hit in here. This gets called on tuning, debug feature, won't get called. And this gets called, oh, here we go. So here's our update main. And before, way down here, we actually update the thrusters to figure out the new acceleration. It's supposed to set the main physics information. However, it'll bet you, debug all things. Aha! So, what this tells us is the flight controller has this variable called animation mode, and because it's true, we're never updating this physics status, so the thrusters can never figure out their valid acceleration. And this is fun because this is supposed to be for track view. That was that value we saw way up at the top, which doesn't get hit. This should never be true, so let's find out. This only gets true when we enter track view information. This is not going to hit because we're not in a cinematic sequence. And that's the only spot. All right, let's find out in the code where all this gets set. So nowhere does it ever set it, except when you're in track view. And in here, haha. So what's happening is in C++, if you never give this guy an initial value, it will be random. It will be whatever the memory is in there. And as you can tell from this breakpoint, it says true followed by a 4. What that means is we didn't actually set this to a Boolean true. We set this to true because it had some random data in this memory block. So what we have to do for this fix is make sure that we start off false. And to validate that, we are going to, in memory, start it as false. Now from then on, it will calculate the correct information. If we continue, we are now getting correct acceleration, and I should be able to fly. Shazam! So all it was just a simple uninitialized variable causing havoc on the system globally. Ah, the joys of C++. You have to be very, very careful. One variable could cause destruction in the whole wide system. So yep, just adding this will fix it, and we no longer will get that random, this guy works on this machine, doesn't work on this machine. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed. So, as you guys saw, we had one awesome uninitialized variable where sometimes it was true, sometimes it was false, it was pure random. And that caused havoc because on my machine it might work, on someone else's machine it wouldn't work, and it just disrupted the flow of John's IFCS system. Just making sure that was predefined, fixed all the issues, so when you hop into multiplayer it worked, hopped in single player it worked, and in that fun track view it worked as intended. Hope you guys enjoy. Until next time.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.